Hi again, everyone. How are you? Another great video today, and this one is going to be about how to identify and find your target market. And this is, I think, a topic that I really wanted to do it for a long time because on my apps there's so many people that make this mistake, and this is a very common business planning mistake, and it's a very common business mistake because if you don't identify your target market, who are you going to market to? How are you going to market to them, right? And how are you going to make a product that delights them? So almost everything, well, so many things just depend on the correct identification of your target market in your business. It starts from planning to when forever until your business is going on, right? You got to be focused, like laser focused on them. Make sure they love your product. Make sure you know how to target them with your marketing, and that will be part of the foundation that's going to be great. Without it, it's going to be very difficult. So in this video, I'm going to explain the kind of mistake that people make when planning and starting their business, with the misidentification of their target market. Then I'm going to explain why it's so important. Well, I kind of touched on it, but I'll explain why it's so important to identify your target market. And lastly, I'm going to explain how to identify your target market. And then I'll give some tips, I'll give some tricks to kind of do it. And then we'll end there, I guess. Unless you guys want to stick around today. So the mistake that people make, right? And on my apps, they're like the business planning apps on iPhone, Android. And so when the people are planning their business, they often want to say, and first-time entrepreneurs, they do this all the time, like maybe 80% of the time. It's so often. And they make this really common mistake of saying, my target market is everyone. I want to sell my products to everyone. Or sometimes, like, they get away with it because they're like, well, maybe it's a fashion product, or some product that's only for like all women. So they say all women, but that's not how you identify your target market. Like, even if it's all women, like 16-year-old women and 50-year-old women and 30-year-old women, they don't shop the same. They have different incomes. They have different education level. They have different interests. They have different lifestyles. So I really doubt that a fashion product is going to be good for all that age group, right? I mean, maybe very rarely something, but most of the time it's a mistake. So, and people do this all the time. And so really what I want to do in this video is to encourage you to think deeper and never say in your business plan or whatever, in any case, never think my target market is everyone. It is wrong. It's pretty much always wrong. Maybe, of course, I can't say always. Sometimes it may be actually right. Like, I don't know, like some things. But even the things that have broad appeal still have a target market. So, and it will kind of make you look like you don't really have that experience. So if you give an investor a business plan with like, hey, my target market is everyone, that's gonna be a very big minus for you in that. So now that you know the general mistake you will make, let's just briefly again go over why it's so important, right? Because you have a product, right? It's made for someone. Like who, right? What's their age, location, gender, income level, education level, right? Who are they, right? If you don't know them, and also they have a personality, right? They have interests, they have values, they have attitudes, they have needs. If you don't know who they are and what their needs are and how to meet their needs, then how can you make a product that's good for them, right? It's a little bit like stabbing in the dark. But what I want you to do is be like a sniper shooter. So instead of like going in the dark, right? I want to identify everyone. I want you to be like pam, 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 pam. Really precise, targeting, really good, right? And you have to know the target market, and you have to know what they want, and you have to so you can make that for them. You have to know their needs, and you have to make this for them, and then you have to also figure out how to market to them through channels that will reach them at scale and at reasonable cost, right? So if you don't have, again, if you're going blind, if you like, I don't know, I'm just trying. How can you, because marketing is going to require quite a bit of precision. Um, so you gotta really know who you want to reach. Otherwise, you'll be reaching the wrong people who won't buy your product, and then you'll be wondering like, why is nobody buying my stuff, right? So okay, now maybe am I babbling? Like maybe you got it. Okay, don't make me explain again why it's important. Let's just assume that you got it. It's important. So let's talk about how to identify your target market. This is very good. So, so there are certain things called demographics. So let's start with the basics. This is like sort of marketing 101 introduction. So there are certain things that are called demographics. They are age, location, gender, income level, marital status or family status, their occupation, or their ethnic background, or their religion, or something else, or something else, or something else, right? Those are demographics. There's another thing, it's called kind of like value graphics or psychographics, whatever. They deal more with like things you can really measure: personality, attitudes, values, interests, hobbies, lifestyles, behavior. You got it. Like needs. So there's a lot, and the more of these you can identify, and not just guess, but really know, then the better you'll be able to make that product, right? What's important for them, right? So I can say, in my example, in my case, so my product is the mobile apps, right? They're mobile app for business. The core business, the core app is the one to plan the business, right? And so people want to plan the business on that app, right? So this is the number one need that they have. That's why they buy it. I mean, or get it, right? That's why they get the app. And so number one, the app has to help them. They have to be able to plan their business. Number two, I saw mistakes people were making, right? So I added a lot of educational content. So now they're able to make their business better, right? They learn the basics. Like this video is part of the educational content. Now they're able to create their business plan better. They can plan with friends. They can do other stuff, right? So whatever their needs are, right? And their needs are, sometimes they don't even know their needs, right? Sometimes they think like people want to plan, but I really know what's going. Like I kind of know just from so much experience what's really going to happen, right? And many people think like, oh, I'm going to have a business plan and I'm going to show it to an investor and they're going to invest. But it's not really done even like that anymore, even at such a high level, So there's so much education and that needs to be done. And so when I provide these educational tools, people are like delighted because, oh, now I understand. Because before I was kind of nuts. The people weren't certain. So now they get it, right? So it's important that they, are happy with the product. And also, for me, I know what my users are searching for, right? When they're discovering my apps, they're probably searching for things like how to start a business, how to write a business plan, things like that, right? So I know what they're looking for, and I am able to give that thing to them. And I don't care what the fashion people are doing. I don't care what the music people are doing. But the people who want to start a business, I'm working on the product that delights them, right? So I don't want everyone because I don't want random people. I mean, I'll take random clients if that happens, but I'm focused on making sure the needs of my target market are met first and foremost. So that's my focus, right? And that's why it's important, right, to identify your target market, because now I was able to get to know, So let's go through these, right? I'll give an example of how I figured out, so how to figure out your target market, and I'll give the example of all these demographics that I mentioned. I'll give the example of that using my apps as an example, because I just don't have another business that I'm doing. So I'm doing this business with the apps, so that's what I'm currently. So age. they're on mobile, right? But they're doing a reasonably serious topic, right? So see, mobile has younger audience, so it's maybe people 19 to 35. That's actually the age range of my users for the most part. Location, everywhere. Although that doesn't matter that it's everywhere because it's apps. People get them from all over the world. But there's certain demographics even within location, right? That are people buy the paid apps better, like U.S., UK, uh, Canada. Canada has a strong dollar, so the Canadians can afford a little bit more now. So Australia, UK, those are the general countries. South Africa is a good one. Um, those are like the top countries where people download my app. So those are, if I'm going to market, I know people are receptive to the app in those markets. So gender, I have, I think it's 42% women, 58% men. So yeah, I know. I know exactly the percentage. Education level, they're young. So a lot of them are young. So probably going to be high school or college. Uh, Marital status, probably single. Mostly single because um, people who have families to support, it's harder for them to start a business. So mostly single, maybe like 75 to 25% breakdown. Occupation, well, they're entrepreneurs, right? Probably people who have, if they're going to, some of them are going to college, some of them have day jobs that they want to get out of. But education is occupation is that they actually want to become the entrepreneur. I think that's their actual occupation. Ethnic background, I don't target by that. I can't. And then there's the psychographics, the values, the needs, right? What are their needs? Well, I know exactly their needs, right? They need to create a business plan right now because typically they think they're going to show it to someone or to just organize their thoughts in their mind. That's their needs, right? What is their personality? Well, on mobile they have a little bit of a shorter attention span than on the web, so I have to account for that. And generally, I find interacting with people on my apps that they're very, very friendly. And I used to help everyone, but now I just just because of the high volume of demand, I'm only able to interact with people on the paid apps. And I find that people are very, very nice, very receptive often. But one thing that's important for people is privacy with business. And that's across the board. That's not just young people, that's I think everyone. So first-time entrepreneurs, privacy is extremely important. So that's a value that they have that is important to upkeep, right? So all things on the apps are private. If I see it, no one else sees it. Outside of my business, no one sees any of the business plans. So lifestyles. People want to start their own business. People want to do something else. Lifestyle is another demographic, kind of. And then there's behavior. I don't know about behavior. Behavior is kind of like something I help to curate with how the app is organized. So it's kind of like toss up for me. But those are kind of how I think about when I think through my target market, this is my target market. You see, I know them. I know exactly their needs. But I didn't start out that way. There's a lot of mistakes that I made. And so one trick that I want to teach you, not teach you, and it's not a trick, but sort of one technique is that what you really want to do is find a way to get close to your target market. In my case, it was actually helping people because when people were asking me for business advice right on the apps, and I was helping them, in a way, I was helping them, but also they were teaching me about what their needs are, right? So if they, this kind of business. So that's how I got to see what the mistakes were people were making, and that's how I started seeing the patterns. This issue is common. This issue is common. That's less common. So yeah, that's how actually I did it, and it's probably the best way because the demographics, they're a little dry. Age, location, income level, yeah, that's fine. but it's not. There's nothing like interacting, right? So what you want to do, and no matter what business you're in, you want to find a way to interact and work with your target market, right? People who are using your product, people who you're trying to sell to, you want to get as close to them as possible. And so that when you think about your target market, you don't even think in like age, location, gender, income. You get it. You really know, right? So you're no longer guessing. So you want to take all the guesswork out of it. And really, when you're saying, when people make the mistake of saying their target market is everyone, it's kind of like they don't know. So they're kind of guessing, right? They don't know the answer they're supposed to give, and but actually they don't really know the target market. So they're really just guessing, right? And that's what you want to do. You want to take the guessing out of the equation. You want to know exactly who you're targeting, and target them. But one thing I want to say is that many people, they think like targeting is like limiting, right? Because when you take a section of all people and you say I'm going to target only that section, they say, oh, it feels like very limiting. Like, and it doesn't. It's not limiting. It's still a big chunk of people in the world. But what's important is, the other people, they probably wouldn't care about your product anyway. But if they did, let's say some musician or artist or I don't know, somebody who wouldn't necessarily care about my apps, right? About business. There are actually musicians and artists using my apps, right? So even though I don't really like think about them as my target market because they're not the largest demographics inside my apps, if they want to use it, they're totally fine. It's just that my efforts are focused on the demographics that have the biggest potential for me, right? They have the biggest interest in my products. So that's what I want to address. Like, it's not limiting. You are going to be able to take all of the people who want it. It's just your efforts are going to be focused on people who are most likely to be receptive to your product. That's it. And also, you don't want to over limit. Sometimes, like, some people make mistakes. Like, they find a real niche, right? And that's good because you can like target that niche really well. But if that niche is too small, I mean, some niches are big, but some niches are kind of small. And if your niche is very small, then it's going to be actually difficult to get clients due to the fact that it's just so small, right? There's no business, there's no potential. So you want to still have a market that's big enough. And market size is like a tricky thing. There are various industry report companies who provide reports, not free often, but you can also Google what is the market for XYZ. So you can research it online and find a lot of information about how big a certain market is. You can actually guess. Often you can like sort of guesstimate, like, this is $1 billion market. This is not. That's what you really want. You don't want the exact number. You're like, oh, this is like $100 billion market. This is a few $1 billion market. Some markets are like $10 million only, but that's really small. I mean, for a local business, it's okay because it's local. But if you have a product that you're trying to sell everywhere, and the market for it is relatively small, I mean, there's not going to be much growth in there. You can always shift a little bit and try to target slightly bigger market. So maybe it's not an issue in the beginning. But nevertheless, I'm getting kind of tired talking. So nevertheless, those are the issues associated with the target market, right? It's very important to identify them. Now you know how to identify them with the demographics, and there's certain mistakes you know to avoid now. So thank you for watching. Like, if you found this insightful or helpful or interesting, please subscribe to my channel. And comment. Actually comment. I'm curious what you think, if it was helpful, if you maybe made the same mistakes before of saying my target market is everyone. If you did it, write to me. I'll get a kick out of it. It'll be fun. And of course, please check out my mobile apps at problemio.com. It's mobile apps for starting a business and covers business ideas, business planning, marketing, and fundraising. And they're available on iOS, Kindle, Android, Top. please take a look at problemio.com, and thank you for watching. Bye.